Hi, thanks for watching. Okay, so right after I did my video last night, I saw new pictures of the CEO shooter. Okay, and I'm putting them in the background here. These are new pictures, supposedly, of the CEO shooter in New York. Okay, and how does this change anything? All right, look, I hope that's what he looks like. Okay, and I hope that somebody recognizes this guy. You know, anybody who knows this guy, seeing these pictures so clearly, the eyebrows, so clearly the upper facial features. Anybody who knows this guy, if that's what he really looks like, they'll know right away who it is. Okay. I would love that to be true, but I have to think, I have to be creative, and I think we all have a responsibility to cover all the possibilities, right? And I think just given the sophistication of this operation, just the level of sophistication, the level of risk, okay, and the high profile nature of this operation, I have to think that this person is an expert at concealing his real appearance, okay. And when I look at this picture, I just can't help but think something seems a little bit artificial about it, okay, especially when you also compare it to the other pictures. This person just everything about his appearance seems to be, it's not just about the hoodie. I think if you even look carefully, like at the nose in some of these pictures, it just makes me wonder if maybe there isn't some prosthetics going on where he's like changing the width of his nose, maybe the shape of his nose, maybe playing a little bit with his cheekbones, his chin. But also, if you really look carefully at these new pictures, I think you can almost see some contrast in the skin tone around the eyelids. Okay, and so that makes me wonder if maybe he doesn't have some prosthetics to go over the sort of the front of his eyebrow, basically the whole eyebrow, and also the hood of the eyelid. Okay, like this sort of the skin right under the eyebrow. Okay, all that seems to me to be like not matching completely in skin tone with the inner eyelids. Okay, and so I'm wondering maybe he doesn't have like a special kind of 3D printed mask where it has like these very realistic eyebrows where it kind of like seals right on over the inner eyelids. Okay, and it maybe sticks on over the whole forehead. Okay, and that's why the hoodie helps, so you don't see the seam, where you could actually see the seam of sort of like the edge of the mask. So it's sort of like an eyebrow mask. Um, and I think there's also something going on with the nose, okay, where I think there's some kind of prosthetic, because if you really want to change your appearance so that you're not recognized on camera, the things you have to do is you have to change the shape of your nose and basically the whole front, and the eyebrow, sort of the whole, um, sort of the eyebrow and the hood of the eyelids, okay. And so, because something just seems very artificial and kind of exaggerated. It seems like, I don't know. It's sort of like they put a mask on him, so he looks like a generic Middle Eastern person, not even a specific Middle Eastern person, but it just looks very generic to me. And I would think that, just given the seriousness and the riskiness of this operation, and apparently the sophistication of this operation, I would say, and given all the other measures he's taken to conceal himself, why wouldn't he change his facial appearance? Okay, why wouldn't he do that? And on top of that, why wouldn't he put contact lenses to maybe take green or blue eyes or hazel eyes and make them look much darker? Or let's say if he has like light brown eyes, why wouldn't he put on contact lenses to make his eyes look more like darker, consistent with this kind of generic Middle Eastern image? The other thing too is if you sort of look at the eyebrows carefully, they don't seem to have any. They don't seem to have any they don't seem to stick out, the eyebrows. They seem to be sort of like 2D eyebrows, like just flat. So it almost makes you wonder if maybe the eyebrow mask is sort of like the eyebrows don't really stick out that much, and such thick eyebrows, you'd think they would stick out a little bit, but they look like they're almost like they're painted on, so maybe they do use some artificial hairs, so they do stick out a little bit, but they just seem to be more like the impression of an eyebrow. And so I think, I don't know, I at least why not at least have the doubt? Why should we just trust that this is what he really looks like? Maybe it is. If that is what he looks like, great. But I think we should also be careful and just be realistic and think that maybe that's not what he looks like. Okay, and that he may be using very sophisticated 3D printed, um, eyebrow mask, a nose prosthetic, And believe me, the CIA, even in Hollywood, people who are serious, they can make very realistic prosthetics where you really can't tell the difference. Well, you probably could tell the difference if you really studied it, but just at first glance, at a casual glance, he can actually pass as somebody else. And even in the photos, at the very least, you have no idea what he really looks like. Okay, so while I'm on this hypothesis, okay, that this guy is really highly either experienced or highly trained in spycraft, okay, and spycraft is everything from the choice of weapon to maybe all the little techniques of changing his appearance, so that any pictures of him are not going to tell you what he really looks like. Okay, so while we're on this topic of this idea, this hypothesis that this guy is basically a spy, in terms of his skill set, okay, sort of not so much a mafia hitman, but more like an assassin spy kind of type of guy. Okay, as long as we're on that topic, let's go back to the gun. Okay, because now that I've thought about it, okay, and having carefully looked at the video of the action of his weapon, okay, and having compared that to the BNT Station 6 and VP9, you know, veterinarian and assassin pistols out there, I can see that there are some differences with this weapon. Okay, but at the same time, when I look at the action, okay, I don't really see him racking the slide like you normally would with like your typical semi-automatic pistol. So something tells me that maybe we just should keep on the table, just put it on the table, that maybe it's not exactly a Station 6 or a VP9. Okay, but maybe it's also not just a regular, slide racking, semi-automatic. Okay, there's something about the action when he's. It seems to me like he's ejecting. He's moving the bolt like a bolt action of this weapon. I can see that he's not doing the twist that you would normally make with like a VP9 or like a Station 6. Okay, and again, I'm not a gun expert, but I can tell that his movement is much more fluid. Okay, so I'm just wondering if maybe he's not operating with some kind of customized like handmade weapon, right? Like a customized sort of like a well rod type, sort of like in the same model of like say sort of modeled after the Wellrod spy assassin pistols, right? But maybe it's not exactly a Station 6, and maybe so that he doesn't have that problem of having to twist the bolt action, okay? Maybe it's designed so he just has to pull it back and it sort of twists as he pull it back, right? So it's automatically twisting. So it's an easier action. But I still wonder if this isn't a bolt action pistol. I don't know. I'm just leaving it open just because the way he's moving, it just doesn't look like he's racking a slide. And so there's something about the action on this weapon that makes me wonder if maybe it isn't a customized or handmade weapon. And maybe he's also using ammunition that was hand loaded or something like that. So this could be very customized equipment, and maybe even the silencer is very customized. And so that just lends, I think, to the idea that maybe he's operating in a very sophisticated conspiracy, where he's part of like a team of people that have a lot of financing, and they're able to even like craft their own weapons, basically, something, or maybe adapt weapons, but something very customized, and something that might, for example, I've heard a lot of people saying that, if you were to have personally purchased a silencer, some of that stuff would get on the radar of the ATF or the federal authorities. But if this guy is using like handcrafted equipment, then he doesn't have that problem. So I'm just saying, look, nobody knows for sure if this guy is like some kind of a highly trained spycraft assassin type guy, but we should at least leave it on the table, along with the hypothesis that he's working with a highly financed, either governmental or just heavily, with the backing of some really wealthy person or wealthy group of people, or some organization where they have access to really high quality, basically modifications or handcrafted weaponry, something like that. And so, if it were me, I would leave on the table that this is a very sophisticated operation, and that these people basically, have the equivalent of like, spy training, and are either part of the operation of some government or some very, very high level well-financed operation. So anyway, just a few extra ideas, but when I saw these last pictures, and immediately when I looked at these eyebrows, I thought it just seems so exaggerated. And so I just have to think, I'm not going to assume this guy really looks like what we're seeing in these new pictures. I mean, he may, and I hope so, but you have to be realistic and think that maybe he doesn't look anything like these pictures. So anyway, just some ideas, and let's see what happens. I hope this guy gets caught. I hope we learn more. But whatever happens, I think we should just keep being creative and you know not box ourselves in too narrowly in terms of you know what we think may have happened or who these people may be. Anyway, appreciate your patience and thanks for watching.